This leopard made a huge mistake when deciding to attack African buffaloes. The spotted panther's plan involved a lightning-fast attack on a calf. The leopard intended to stealthily approach, then suddenly strike the buffaloes from the flank, crush the calf's trachea, escape, and return to the prey after the herd departed. However, the plan failed. The buffaloes immediately detected the leopard and instantly counterattacked. The predator had to hide in a tree. But that's not the end. Typically, the panther finds safety in the treetops, but this is not the case now. It was a mistake to anger these buffaloes. The buffalo can't climb up, but it possesses such terrifying strength that it attacks the tree itself. The leopard certainly didn't expect this. The plant, with sturdy bark, mighty branches, and a height equivalent of a 2-story house, trembles as if in a hurricane. The buffalo wants to knock down the tree, or at least dislodge the leopard onto the ground to trample it, lift it on its horns, mix it with dust. The panther, shocked and clinging to a branch, gets lucky this time. The buffalo really loses interest and leaves. But it's a lesson learned for the leopard. A buffalo charges at young lions, acting as if he's the predator and they're the helpless prey. The inexperienced lions, stunned by the force, can't react in time as the buffalo literally tosses one of their kin away with its horns. The buffalo grabs him by the hind leg, lifting him up, detaching the predator weighing as much as a motorcycle from the ground. Notice the short, sharp strikes and head movements of the buffalo, both making the lion somersault in the air and attempting to gore its belly with the sharp tips of its horns. The lion falls to the ground, seemingly avoiding fatal injuries. But now the buffalo will be taken more seriously by these carnivores. The massive buffalo is injured. It collapses at the feet of the lions, wounded after a fierce battle against a group of experienced lionesses. The lions begin to close in, forming a circle to finish off their prey, but suddenly another bull appears. It swoops into the frame in a wide arc, dispersing the lions. The wounded comrade lying on the ground can't defend itself or aid its friend. The hero arrived too late, facing a whole pack of predators alone. The unexpected attack makes the lionesses step back for a moment, but they are ready to confront this bull as well. He stops beside his fallen companion, looks at it with sadness, but then flees. Did he abandon the injured one? Nevertheless, facing an entire pack of lionesses alone, the bull had no chance. He was fortunate to catch the hunters off guard with a sudden charge. Now, they are ready to take him seriously and to deal with the second buffalo in a row. The hoofed creature understands this and runs away. The lionesses finally get to work. They leap onto the lying bull from different sides, restraining its limbs from its last convulsive movements. The most experienced and powerful female grabs the buffalo by the throat. Lions have long, sharp fangs, but don't sever large vessels on the victim's neck. They suffocate it. Although the lioness's prey can no longer resist, the buffalo has a few minutes of life left until the lionesses strangle it. However, finishing off a half-ton, hoofed animal is not easy, even without resistance. Suddenly, the buffalo strike force arrives. The bull, trying to defend the wounded comrade, didn't abandon him, but went for help, bringing it back just in time. Neither antelopes, nor zebras, nor any other hoofed animals can boast such loyalty to their kind. A whole herd of bulls came to save one of their own. The lionesses retreat. They are cornered, but can't completely turn them away. The predatory cats are too maneuverable, agile, and brave. They step back a few paces, but not all of them. The strongest lioness still presses the head of the wounded buffalo to the ground. She no longer suffocates him, and the bull doesn't move. Perhaps the herd was too late? Fortunately, the bulls arrived in time at a very crucial moment. The attacked victim gathers strength and moves its legs and head several times. The bulls see that their kind is alive and slowly approach the lionesses. Credit to the bravest lions here. She struck the leader of the rescue team several times with her clawed paw right in the face. But this couldn't shake the bull's determination, and they saved their own. 5 lions attacked 1 young buffalo. In the hunting group, there are 2 males and 3 females, while the buffalo is alone since its herd is quite far away. Against such power, the hoofed animal had no chance. The predators were not only numerous but skillful. They effectively used the tactic of surrounding, quickly bringing down the buffalo, and one of the males immediately grabbed it by the throat. Predators from the other sides also pressed the buffalo to the ground. Even one lion holding the buffalo's throat in its jaws could have dealt with the hoofed animal. Still, the claws of the other pride members would have deprived the buffalo of any chance to escape. Suddenly, 2 lionesses started fighting each other. Pretty unexpected, isn't it? Typically, it's the males who settle disputes amongst themselves, right? However, these 2 females also had some unresolved issues, and it escalated into a fierce fight. A terrifying roar erupted as the cats exchanged blows, rolling on the ground, gripping each other powerfully. The other hunters were shocked by this turn of event. One lion attempted to separate the lionesses and stop the fight, but failed. The lionesses were too engrossed. The buffalo realized this was his chance. He tried to stand, but the second lion pressed his head to the ground with a powerful paw movement. However, the lionesses didn't stop fighting. They thought the meal was ready and started sorting out their differences at an inconvenient time. This was a big mistake. Never underestimate the will to live of other beings. Gradually, the conflict between the 2 lionesses drew the attention of the rest of the hunting party. And now, nobody is holding the buffalo on the ground. One lion clearly sided with his favorite, so the second lion let go of the buffalo and joined the conflict to prevent bloodshed. While the lions and the third lioness try to stop the aggressive cat fight, the buffalo decides to stand up again. Though he endured several dangerous blows, he managed, albeit with difficulty, to rise to his feet almost silently. Meanwhile, the predators continued their fight, turning into a whirlwind of claws and fangs that shifted a bit forward. Surprisingly, the buffalo managed to slip away right from under the noses of the battling predators before they even realized what had happened. Underestimating this hoofed animal was a mistake. Perhaps he was lucky, but he made the most of his chance. Whose side are you on in this particular situation? Let us know below. A whole pride of lions attacked a huge bull. One-on-one, the buffalo could easily send any of the predators flying. However, lions act too strategically. They attack almost simultaneously from different sides, forcing the buffalo to continually move from one enemy to another. Victory for the bull is not even worth considering here, only the escape. But the lions are faster, surrounding him. Escaping from such encirclement is not easy, especially when a particularly bold enemy is poised to launch powerful curved claws or grab the leg or even the neck at any moment. The predators were close to bringing down their prey, but the buffalo, with his last strength, managed to reach the water and go to a convenient depth for defense. The combined force of the hunters far exceeds the capabilities of the hoofed animal. But there is one advantage that even the numerical superiority of the enemy cannot take away from the buffalo. This is the bull's height. The head of the tall herbivorous beast is above the water, slowing and restraining the movements of the shorter felines. The bull used this advantage and began delivering sharp blows with its fearsome horns to the predators clinging to its back. The beast only seems unwieldy due to its mighty build. In reality, this buffalo surprises with the flexibility of its spine and sharp horn strikes, threatening to pierce or even hook those predators daring to jump on the herbivore's hind legs. The lions had to retreat, but they are now waiting for the buffalo on the shore. Do you think this hoofed animal remained safe in the water? No, the buffalo charged at the pride of lions. They definitely did not expect such a move here, but underestimating an enraged buffalo was not wise. He threw off the predators who had to retreat. Surprisingly, the furious resistance was skillfully combined with composure. He didn't get carried away with a counterattack and stayed close to the water's edge. When the agile cats launched a counterattack to lure the buffalo onto the land for a prolonged fight and ambush him, the buffalo immediately climbed back into the water. He showed the enemies that a whole pride of lions was not up to the task of taking on this buffalo right here. The hunters had to let him go, as continuing the battle could cost them too dearly. Which of today's cases where buffaloes gave enemies a particularly tough resistance impressed you the most? When the turtle crawled onto the shore, normally timid pigeons thought there was no reason to be afraid this time. Big mistake. The turtle took advantage of being allowed within striking distance and lunged at the bird. With a single bite, the reptile broke the pigeon's neck. The other birds were in shock. Hippos are herbivorous beasts weighing about 3 tons, which usually leisurely graze in shallow water or on the banks of rivers and lakes. However, these giants with round barrel bodies and thick, smooth skin can shock with their behavior. The thing is, hippos are territorial aggressors who hate it most in the world when they are disturbed. They often attack predators that hunt in their territory, but that doesn't really mean that hippos are benevolent defenders of herbivores. On the contrary, they don't care about other animals. They just don't like unnecessary noise. Here, a numerous herd of zebras was crossing the river. During their journey, a crocodile noticed them, rushed towards the herd, and managed to catch one zebra. The striped herbivore resisted the opponent, but the reptile's jaw strength was incredible. Although the zebra outweighed the crocodile in body mass, it couldn't break free from its grip. The zebra resisted, but the crocodile slowly dragged it further away from the shore. Suddenly, an enraged hippopotamus approached the adversaries. The crocodile was shocked by such an intrusion because its usual attack scene causes panic among other herbivores. The zebra was surprised too. Could this really be its hero? Not at all. The noisy sounds of the struggle just irritated the hippo, so it decided to put an end to it. The huge and powerful hippo rushed at the entangled crocodile and zebra. All 3 disappeared underwater, but only the hippo resurfaced. What did it do to them under the cover of murky water? We can only guess, but clearly nothing good. The bite force of a hippo is so great that it can crush motorboats. Don't mess with and irritate them. A similar story happened here, but we see the actions of the hippo. A young and mighty lion was hunting a gazelle. It knew the herbivore was too fast, so it set up an ambush on the edge of a swamp, hoping the frightened prey would run into the marsh and get stuck there. Initially, everything happened as planned. The gazelle got scared and ran exactly where it was advantageous for the lion, but it underestimated the agility of its opponent, which managed to run far away from the shore before getting stuck. The lion had a drink, watched how far the gazelle was, and was about to wet its paws when it noticed the hippopotamus. Although the lion was young, it still backed off. It was the right decision, because the hippo was clearly not in the best mood. A smaller hippo followed it. Apparently, they were together. For them, this swamp was not impassable. Massive and super strong hippos calmly walked through the mud, from which the gazelle could not really escape, crying as if calling for help. It's a pity. The herbivore didn't know who it was dealing with. The enraged male didn't want any cries to ruin his date. For him, this swamp was like a beach, and he came to relax with his female. So the male hippo headed straight for the gazelle, which probably hoped to be pulled out of the mud. In short, yes, it will be pulled out, but in the most brutal way. The angry hippo rams the gazelle, bites it, and drowns it, and then effortlessly lifts it, tearing it from the mud. It no longer makes noise, having suffered multiple internal injuries. But if the hippo is in a bad mood, it will not calm down so quickly and easily. Another fierce blow pulls the herbivore out of the mud, and the hippo smashes its head against the surface of the swamp, shaking it from side to side, breaking its spine, neck, and legs. Provoking the anger of this giant was a fatal mistake. The lion is probably glad it retreated far away from this scene. Hyena-like dogs were hunting a gazelle. This is not easy, as the herbivore is incredibly fast. The dogs chased the gazelle into a swamp at the edge of a small lake. The prey's legs got stuck, and it lost its mobility. The fast dogs took advantage of the opportunity and attacked their prey. They managed to knock it off its feet and clamped onto it from different sides with their toothy jaws. The thing is, both the predators and their prey didn't know that they had staged their showdown in the most unfortunate place they could find. Hippos live near the shores of the pond. The enraged monster, the weight of a car, rushes into the battle. First, the hippo charged the dogs and blocked the gazelle with its body. The herbivore was freed from the grip of the predators, but moved towards deeper mud and got stuck. This was a fatal mistake. It couldn't free itself. The gazelle pretended to be a twig, making no sound and staying still as the hippo sniffed around. And that saved her. The hippopotamus laid down in the mud to rest. However, the dogs gathered courage and attempted to pull the prey out of the mud again, right under the giant's nose. This truly infuriated him. The hippopotamus understood that it couldn't reach the dogs. They were too agile, quickly dodging the giant. So the mighty giant tried to reach the gazelle. At first it didn't work, but the situation repeated. The dogs descended to their prey again to retrieve it from the mud. And this annoyed the hippo. It wasn't afraid of the dogs, they just irritated him. The 3-ton beast decided that if it couldn't catch the predators, maybe they would leave it if they took their prey. The hippo pounced on the gazelle, grabbed it with its jaws, and violently shook it from side to side. At that moment, the dogs were in shock. One can't help but wonder, is the hippo really a vegetarian? With its powerful jaws, it broke almost all the bones in the gazelle's body. In its mouth, the gazelle turned into a rag. Then the hippo threw its still-living herbivore under the paws of the dogs. They were not expecting such a gift. With caution and wariness, what if it's a trap? They approached and started dragging the gazelle towards themselves. The hippo allowed them to take the prey. The gazelle was still moving, but could not resist. Perhaps with its behavior, the hippo surprised both the gazelle and the dogs, but with different outcomes. However, the bravery of the wild dogs and their ability to find their advantage even in close encounters with a 3-ton monster deserves your like, I would think, don't they? A surveillance camera captured an amusing incident. A fox sneaked onto a farm to feast on local chickens. But the German shepherds noticed the red one and thought they would easily catch the intruder. They rushed at it, hoping to immediately knock it to the ground and sink their fangs into its throat. But they didn't know who they were dealing with. It seems the fox prepared for the encounter and planned its escape route in advance. It deceived the shepherds, confused them, then turned around and ran between them, literally leaping out of the jaws of the opponents. The shepherds chased further, but the fox made an impressive jump and almost leaped over the fence where it was already too high for the more massive dog. It was not worth underestimating such an agile opponent and rushing at it simultaneously from one side. If they had surrounded or cut off its escape routes, the fox would have been doomed, but instead it easily escaped the pursuit in a matter of seconds. Kangals are a breed of dog known for their incredible strength. Several Kangals can take down a bear. Just the sight of such a frightening, massive, and dangerous dog should induce hysteria even in smaller wild animals, but not really in this fox right here. The Kangal threatens it, barks, lunges, but the fox doesn't care. This fluffy little troublemaker should not have been underestimated at all. Of course, in a fight against a huge dog, it will not last 3 seconds. However, the clever fox can clearly see that the Kangal is chained to its kennel. So the furry wild predator calmly sits right in front of its enemy's muzzle and even turns away, as if demonstrating its contempt. And moreover, the fox carefully explores the length of the train. It provokes the Kangal to attack, observes how far the enemy can move away from the kennel, and tighten the chain. In the end, the fox calmly circles around the dog, looks for food, and ignores the Kangal as if it's just a noisy little cheeky puppy.